Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to you, March 27th, 2025. Here are all the stories I have for your rush hour ride to work. On today's episode, we've got Impractical Rehab, which Impractical Joker is canceling their tour dates and going to rehab. I'll talk about that. And Jeff Bezos, I guess, will be walking down the aisle in Amazon wedding. I really hope he uses one of those Amazon drones to drop off the wedding ring. We'll share a little bit about that story and Temptation Island on Netflix. If you're not following it, it's one of my new favorite guilty pleasures. Well, one of the guys had a three-way in his primary bathroom, and he's now explaining why he wishes he didn't. He's getting death threats. Nobody should get death threats for having a three-way. Unless it's from your wife, I guess, at that point. And then also I was on the Hidden True Crime podcast, a real behemoth of a podcast. I'll discuss that. We are really, just so great to collaborate with such awesome shows. Also, speaking of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, that's what we talk about in that podcast. But we've got an update to one of the lines that Kid Pool was supposed to say. That, of course, was played by Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's 7-year-old daughter. So the problematic behavior continues. I'll share that. And we'll also be talking about a kidnapping. That's right. There was multiple kidnappings. One in Maine, one in Somerset, Massachusetts. Kidnappings and detaining of people just going about their business. A PhD student, of course, obviously not the type of person that's trying to wreak havoc out there, just someone getting their higher education. So I got a lot of content to get into. Stick around. These stories and more coming up right now on The Rush. Well, we covered this Impractical Joker story a couple days ago. Joe Gatto was accused of assault, SA allegations, by a TikToker. The story itself is super messed up. It hasn't been verified other than the screen grabs that were shared that show what looks like Joe, at the very least, cheated on his wife that he just got back together with this past year. Well, now he's entering an inpatient treatment facility. Look, that's the right move to do, whether it's for PR. Hopefully it's for actual personal growth. If he was in a marriage that he was trying to work out, that's not the way to do it. There was a lot circulating on TikTok about the allegations being false and this and that, but I've seen no evidence to sort of assert that. And for that reason, I believe her. He claims that it wasn't SA. And again, he's canceling his tour dates, which is the right move to do. And he'll be, and again, I'm not trying to cancel the guy. I've got no idea. It doesn't look like it's going through the court system. So what are we supposed to do other than somebody else also came out and said, yeah, he's been inappropriate. So, when a couple random people start coming out, that's where the chips, fall, right? So either way, we'll have to see if there's more to the story. But right there, he says, doing the old treatment facility. And terrible for the victims, assuming their stories are true. And Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez are getting married. They've got their VIP wedding guest list. I wonder, do they have a gift list? Amazon, do they do like an Amazon wish list? How does that work? I don't know. Either way, you guys know my stance on billionaires. I think he's worth way too much money. I think he doesn't pay enough in taxes. That's how I stand on that. But there he is, the glow up. Does he not look like some sort of villain in a Marvel movie? You know what I mean? I don't know. What can he do? I hope he finds happiness. And speaking of finding happiness, it looks like Breon Whitley found happiness with multiple people in the same evening. Here it is. The Temptation Island star says, I shouldn't have had that threesome. Now, if you don't know how it works, you're in a relationship and you go on this show where they split you up and you try to not cheat, I guess. But these relationships are all pretty flawed. They're all 1 year in, they've all had infidelity in the past. They're real dumpster fires. My wife and I went on this show, we would just watch Netflix. They'd be like, do you think your partner's cheating? No, he's probably making popcorn and drinking Diet Cokes. I don't know. But either way, they're, young, dumb, and full of energy. And here's what he had to say.
Situation occurred. Even after, you can see even right after, I still wanted to be egotistical and cocky, but I think that's when I really started to see the pain and the hurt that I was causing.
So how it works is you split up and then your partner watches the video of what happened. It is real terrible TV, and it is really must watch. And I hate to say it. It's my wife and I, it's like you watch it, you're just like, boy, this is the elder millennials. What we'll do for a quick dopamine hit.
My person that I loved, I was seeing her reactions to everything, it really said like, wow, this is not about you at the end of the day. Like you're affecting someone majorly, right? And I think that really broke me. And I was like, hey, what am I doing? You know, did I get joy out of what I just did on the show? Maybe for what, 5 seconds, right? And
Yeah, I mean, look, cheating, having the threesome, whatever, to me, I'm a sugar addict and I have to look at it the same way. I go, this is going to feel really good having this glazed donut, but long term, it's not sustainable. It's that old post nut clarity they talk about. It ain't sustainable. That great feeling I have for the 3 minutes after having a glazed donut doesn't last throughout the day. So I boringly just eat keto cereal because I've learned my ways, right?
then it's just, I don't know. I get emotional now thinking about it because I like having to rewatch her pain and whatnot. I just feel stupid. And I realize that I want to be able to grow with somebody. And guess what? When you have emotional connection, you grow the physical flourishes way more. And that's what we've been able to have, and it's been beautiful. And I just it was stupid. Just yeah.
There it was. Yeah. I mean, hey, so look, maybe Temptation Island, maybe you grow from it when you realize that, you're outwardly trying to fill some hole that you need to fill on the inside. All right. Well, we're filling a hole on our inside by covering this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively case, right? It's been absolutely wild, all this new information that's come out. So I'm going to share what Ellsrich had to say. She scoured the script and found that the line that Ryan Reynolds' daughter said in Nice Pool was actually the better of the two lines. So I'll share that. Plus also, hey guys, Hidden True Crime. This podcast's got 250,000 subscribers. Isn't that incredible? 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. They're huge. They interviewed me and it was a good conversation. It's a husband and wife team. And I think they're husband and wife, right? They're together. It's so Dr. John wasn't there, but Lauren was. So Dr. John will be back. He's a psychologist and he wanted to do all of the nitty gritty work to really pick apart how. So I can't wait to hear from him. We love to hear from psychologists. But I talked to Lauren and it was a real good conversation about why she's deciding to cover the case. And she walked us through how she was kind of like on one side and how she saw on the other, and real smart stuff that we all a lot of us felt and, kind of came to our conclusions and all of that. So go check that out. I want to, I can't promote it enough, even though they're, a great size audience. I mean, that's a sexy number, 251,000 subscribers. I mean, a boy can dream, right? So either way, here's Ellsrich, and here's Ellsrich sharing, and great work by finding this. Here's sharing the line. And the commenter said here, I heard allegedly the child didn't want to say the line. She feels it was too vulgar. The child was more responsible than the adults in the room. Yeah, I mean, look, there's no the child actor didn't have to say this line. That's what it comes down to. They could have used any number of voice artists that are adults that can pretend to be a child. It wasn't good for their reel, for any future business. It's just a lot. I mean, you think about it with kids. You think about like overexposing kids to adult themes too early in life. And I don't want to be like a helicopter parent, but I look at my beautiful 10-month-old baby and I think, how can I keep him in this snow globe of unconditional love as long as possible? Like, there'll be a time and a place. The world's cruel. You'll get there. When in your teens, you'll be exposed to people being rude, but really at 7, do you really want your child to be saying certain words and this and that? Anyhow, here's the reel. Let's just play it.
Believe me if I told you that according to this Deadpool script, the disgusting lines Kidpool said that's going viral was actually the best option available. And I know you're wondering, Elsie, what the fuck does that even mean? It's either Kidpool says,
"Hey, when I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's dick out of your mouth."
Or she says, "Hey, when we want your opinion, I'll take my panini out of your mouth." Well, what the fuck? Inez is a girl. Inez is 7 years old. Inez is a child. Inez is your child. Why would you write a line that says your child will take her panini out.
And so she's saying panini, but it's the word's dick. I'm just want people to be clear if you're listening on the audio, not the video. So that was the line. And again, I ain't by no means sticking up for Ryan Reynolds here. I mean, look, you can write this all you want in the script. And like I said, you can just have a voiceover actor. You can literally have the kid pool character say, "Hey, Wolverine, you're my dad." It doesn't matter what they say. You can dub it in post-production, right? Now, the one saving grace is they gave the kid water pistols, fake guns, little water pistols, not real guns. But they have this oversight, and I don't know what the excuse is, but it's just one of those situations that when the internet's already coming at you for this lawsuit, and Blake and Ryan being on kind of the wrong side of the fandom here, right? Just about everybody supporting Justin Baldoni. You look at these instances and you go, these aren't good people, and or at the very least, they're not thinking critically about what's good for their family, really, and it puts their daughter and them in a very vulnerable position. Now, there's people that are saying we should call Child Protective Services. I think that's too far. I think that can be very dangerous when you call Child Protective Services in instances where there isn't a actual harm. And you might say, Dave, but this part's crazy. And they go, look, okay, I think this is enough. I hope that this is enough to get people's attention that it's not right. I do. But we're going to rip someone's child out of their family's home. I disagree with that. Some people might not, but I disagree with that. All right, well, up next, that's all we have right now for Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively. Now, there's some other crazy stuff going on that we have to get to. So let's kind of reset the deck right now, and I'm going to be discussing some of the deportations that are happening out here. I've been sent this link by a lot of people, actually. I'm just going to play the first few seconds of it, but this is someone who had to take to TikTok because their neighbor was kidnapped by ICE.
Father and husband, who lives very close to me, was stolen from his family and our community. If it's too much to listen to the rest of this, I understand. Just know this is...
So I'm going to summarize. He said a father and an uncle were stolen. My 100% legal neighbor has been taken. Please help. Now, they didn't want him to make this TikTok video. They waited 6 days because they didn't want to draw more attention to some of their family members. But essentially, a guy was pulled over for going like 62 and a 55 or something like that. And they asked to see his papers and then ended up taking him. I think they ended up going through his phone and finding other contacts that might be illegal residents. And it's just insane, folks. It's absolutely insane what's going on out there. And again, we already reported on these Venezuelans that were sent to El Salvador. Look at this. Look at this propaganda piece. Tim Miller posted, "This is the sickest shit I have ever seen in my life. Oh my God." And in the background, we have a bunch of prisoners with their heads shaved standing as props.
I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use.
Now, don't get me wrong. There was about 250 of these Venezuelans that were sent to El Salvador, to this high security prison where they're known to actually really take away your human rights. There's physical abuse and other sort of crazy things that have been alleged there. Now, what's interesting, though, is they say, if you came to this country illegally, we all agreed that if you're a violent criminal, if you've done something violent, or you've been part of drug trade or things like that, are you harming other people? We've all agreed that those people should be deported. And they have been. That's part of what we've all agreed on. They're moving the goalpost on what is even legal. Now, I say all of this because, people just driving down the road doing their thing in Maine, of all places. Do you think they have a big immigration problem right there? And look, I understand we need more judges to adjudicate, people that are trying to get through the country legally, right? And we need to do a better job of building up that infrastructure. But how about this? And again, I don't want to make this about me, but I'm getting review bombed by people over fighting for human rights issues. Someone said, too liberal leaning, 1 star. Anyone with asylum would have paperwork. Your reporting is worse than the mainstream media. Listen, this ain't a liberal or conservative issue. It really isn't, okay? This is about fighting for what's right. And speaking of paperwork, no, there were people on that flight that were seeking asylum, that literally were trying to escape tyranny that they had. And one guy was even being tortured by the regime in Venezuela. They came here, and through the asylum process, you are not illegal. And so this is what's so naive by this person to say, hey, no, if they have paperwork, they're fine. Oh, really? The U.S. is set to revoke legal status of more than 500,000 migrants, urges them to self-deport. These migrants had paperwork. They were and are here legally. You might not like it. You might not like the color of their skin or whatever reason people have that leads them to believe that this is bad, that they exist here. But we are a melting pot of a country. We have people that come over. We have the Irish from the potato famine. We have migrants from Haiti. We have folks that came over from different Asian countries. We have people from all over Somalia, and there's different pockets of our country that have this fabric, so that you can have different cultures that makes it diverse and vibrant and colorful. That is a good thing we should embrace. I understand the idea that we can't solve every other country's problems, and we have to set standards on how to get in and this. I understand that idea. I truly do. But the fact that this administration has made us believe that the problem is the guy right here, let's go back to him, the guy right here that was driving down a rural street in Maine. He's the problem. That's what they want you to believe, when it's really guys like this, Jeff Bezos and other billionaires who are making so much. I mean, literally, you can never spend $1 billion. You could never spend $1 billion. And yet they hoard so much wealth while their employees piss into Gatorade bottles in their trucks because they can't get the jobs done fast enough. This is the feudal society, right? This is the middle class shrinking, the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. It's not the migrants. It's not the day laborers or the people that are working tough jobs that a lot of American citizens don't want to work. They're not the problem. So it's very wild to see this going down right here. And by the way, I reject the mischaracterization of this podcast. I reject it. We are in an all-out battle right now. This is stuff that I'm not even trying to bring to anyone's attention that's happening. Dave Neal supports people who support a terrorist. This is essentially what was said. This guy is on the side of the guy who loves Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Calling it like it is. How's that for free speech, Dave? Get educated before you pick a side politically. I am on the side of human beings trying to survive, trying to live, trying to flourish, trying to see their family, trying to go to work and come back and put food on their table. And the more people that give me these types of misguided reviews are taking food off of my family's table, because this is look, hey, I don't like Dave. He sucks. Sure. Review bomb the hell out of me, but don't do it by lying. I never once in my entire life ever said I supported a terrorist organization. Are you fucking kidding me right now? So this is the war and the battle we face when you share the truth that other people don't like. Listen, there's an immigration issue. It happened with the last administration, and they waited way too long to deal with it. I own up to that, but we can't get rid of due process. We can't just kick people out of the country. That's just not how it works. Here's video of an ICE arrest at Tufts University. Tufts University is a real tough school to get into. No pun intended there. But this is a PhD student, and someone was able to videotape this. It's absolutely insane. Doorbell footage obtained by NBC News.
Going around right now. It's been posted on X of this woman walking down the street. Apparently she was about to break her fast and meet friends during Ramadan to break their fast together. First, she's approached by an unmarked person. They're undercover. We believe these are ICE agents, some in masks. It ends up being about 6 people who surround her. They take off her backpack.
And there's a couple women ICE agents saying, it's okay, calm down, calm down. They're trying to get her to calm down. She's screaming. They end up getting her into a van, and guess what? Disappeared, gone, another one. How's that for a deportation ticker? It's fucking sick. Now, folks, there's a lot of issues we can work on in this country, but disappearing a PhD student, that ain't one of them. Now, I just don't understand how these ICE agents can sleep at night. I don't get it. They know they're not dealing with a violent person. Listen to this. Some of these female ICE agents right here, you can literally hear them trying to calm her down. She shouldn't be calm. She should be hysterical. She's being disappeared. And they say, we're the police, relax. They say, it's fine, calm down, calm down. It's not fine, folks. For these people, they may never see some of their family again. It's not fine. And, we all have different lived experiences that get us to, where we are today. And I'm actually reminded of a time when I had the privilege to study abroad in France, and I had an issue with my student visa. So I had to go to a French embassy actually outside the country. I went to England and I waited all day to be seen at the French embassy. It took a long time. Our embassy, consulate, whatever it was. It took a long time. I was the last person to get through. And as I stood in this line and waited for the chance to get a paper stamped just so I could go back to France and continue studying. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't life or death. I would have been fine. I could have called my mom. I could have had money wired to me. It wasn't a big deal. I watched families come out of that embassy rejoicing, and I watched families come out of that embassy crying, that were getting ripped apart from each other, that didn't receive the permission they thought they were going to get to be in a country. And the empathy that's developed from seeing that firsthand and see how important it is to have family. And when you have that taken away, how scary that can be. There are detention centers that are supposed to hold like 500 people that have 5,000 people. And these are existing. And God forbid you compare it to concentration camps. God forbid. And people lose their mind. But what are we witnessing right now is shocking. It's scary. And I'm not one who's going to stand by it. And I don't think that's me raising alarm bells when there shouldn't be. Saying you're going to get rid of 500,000 migrants that are here legally, this just isn't right. So that's where that stands. And we'll continue to share these stories. These are kidnappings. I don't care if they think it's legal or not. The Ninth Circuit ruled that asylum seekers facing deportation have the right to challenge the summary denial of their asylum claims in federal court. And that's just not asylum seekers. That's even undocumented immigrants. They're allowed the right to present any evidence as to why they shouldn't be deported. But by all means, the fact that they're doing this so aggressively, these detention centers that they're putting them in, I worry what might be going on in them. I worry because of some of the stories that are coming out. It's a scary time. And the denial that we're seeing, and let's just go back real quickly to this group message fiasco that we have here from our Department of Defense. They're saying they didn't even do anything wrong. No one's texting war plans. This could all literally be an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. So we've been covering this story, but of course a journalist was accidentally led into a Signal app, which is a private messaging app. And here he says, there was no war plans. We weren't sharing any war plans. Have a listen.
Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths.
It's just gaslighting to the 10th degree is what it is. There was actually mentioning of a CIA agent. There was mentioning that in 21 minutes they were about to bomb. There was a lot of private information. And the fact that they're not willing to just own up to the mess up just shows you what other mess ups they won't own up to. Mike Waltz, this is the guy who accidentally let the journalists into the group chat. He won't even own up to it. They got sucked into his phone. Have a listen.
So your staffer did not put his contact information.
No,
but how did it end up in your phone?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay, but that's a pretty big problem.
That's what we've got the best technical minds, right?
That's disturbing.
And that's where I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone? I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this.
So he's essentially accusing this journalist of espionage. That's what he's accusing him of. He's saying he must have tried to get his way into the group chat, whereas the journalist says, no, on one day a friend requested me or whatever, and then 2 days later he invited me into the group.
This, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets
someone
sucked
sent
in,
you that
it gets
contact.
sucked in.
Was there someone else?
There it is. It got sucked in. That's all. His contact number got sucked in. Nothing to see there, folks. Come on, listen. Talk about, you're too left-leaning, you're too this, you're too that. Guys, they are shitting on the Constitution. They're not even owning up to the problems that they're making, that they're committing. This is, they spent literally years saying, well, if you give up, classified information, you should be prosecuted. And then this happens. They have such such insane stupidity that they're talking about bombings and sharing emojis and things like that. And meanwhile, the fabric of our country is being ripped apart by videos coming out in every major city of ICE agents waiting outside of schools, coming into people's halal shops that they've owned for 20 years, ripping apart families that have lived here for 35 years, that have wanted to be citizens, that have paid taxes, that have existed in this ecosystem. I'm going to tell you this right now. I didn't sign up for this. And I find it hard to believe most of you guys did either. Where's the lowering of food prices? Where's the trying to raise up the middle class by taxing the ultra wealthy a reasonable amount? I don't see it. So we're just going to continue to speak truth to power. And again, I don't care about the shitty reviews, but I do care about being mischaracterized. I don't support terrorism. Are you kidding me? We're a mom and pop shop. I support helping single moms so that they can put an extra couple Christmas presents under the tree for their kids. I support, family and friends and you guys when someone's got a GoFundMe that they need help with for some medical bills. We're all here to help each other out. That's all we've got. And I know you guys have my back. If you can help me by sort of bumping down those completely mischaracterized one-star reviews by going to Apple Podcasts and searching the Rush Hour and leaving a nicer review, that would be helpful. Not because I care for ego reasons, but I don't want new people to find our channel and miss out on the chance to be a part of our community because they see lies that I can't touch right there. I pride myself on one thing and one thing only, authenticity. And I'm not grifting. I'm not taking money from bad places that, want me to think a certain way. I'm here putting my channel and my show on the line to speak truth to power. And I know you guys appreciate that. All right. We'll be back this afternoon. We got other content coming your way. I appreciate y'all. I'm Dave Neal, and this is The Rush.